Alright, folks, of course, welcome back to another episode of Casting Conflicts. Of course, we're coming back off of the incredible set that was Ooj and Jump here. Ooj losing his undefeated streak in games, but still maintaining the set streak, putting him at number 2 on the leaderboards here, just under DA. But today we have a game that affects more towards the bottom of our leaderboards, as we're taking a look at Helios versus Beastly. Now, Tweakin, this is going to be a interesting matchup here, considering that we haven't really seen either of these players do super well. How are you feeling about this matchup?
Uh, it's hard to say. The thing that Beastly has going for him is obviously the global buffs, and with the 3 copies of Armory, Blacksmith, Fat Bards, and the companions, Spiny and Centaur. So it's going to be he's going to find it easy to to take out those the dark benders that sit in the back, or maybe the blacksmiths, or the vampires, or maybe even the Mordock. However, I think what's going to tip the favor more in Helios' position in this first game is just the amount of burns that he has.
Right.
Dragon's Fire and Blue Fire Bolt. He's able to snipe off those armories, those buildings, or maybe even the Beastmaster. If he makes an appearance, he can snipe it off with the Blue Fire Bolt, stopping Beastly's attack. Now we all know Beastly loves to play aggressive very early. He loves to have that board presence and loves to be the aggressor and the one the making the decisions and being in control throughout the game. So it's going to be important for Beastly to, at the beginning to have those early cards and to also pair them with um, the global buffs. Now, if he's able to do that, I think he might be able to sneak out a win here
But
in
it's
the
tough to
first
say.
matchup.
It is.
But it's tough to say because, with Beastly, any type of burn, if it gets to turn 6, you're in Dragonfire's range, and if you don't have multiple armories down, or at least one armory down, it's going to be kind of hard to kind of avoid the Dragon's Fire damage. So that can be a real nuisance in this matchup for Beastly. So we're going to see if he's able to overcome that.
Not to mention, Beastly's notorious weakness with this deck. He likes to be constantly pushing with this. Once he does lose that initial push, I feel like it's going to be hard for him to come back, if at all, from something like, whatever Helios has got on the board at the time here. A lot of people have seen victory over this deck because they're able to outlast that early aggression, the early push, like with a rush deck.
Hmm.
But usually Beastly is able to kind of close things out with just how fat some of the units are that come out from his deck. We'll see if the burns come in handy. I believe I'm giving the edge to Helios just for a similar reason that you are, just because I think his burns are going to be able to do so much more against those globals. But only time will tell, whether we see the globals, whether we see the burns, whether we see either or both. It's hard to say. So with that being said, let's go ahead, jump right into game number 1 and see how our first match goes. All right, folks, and welcome back. Of course, we are back. Game number 1. Back to the battlefield. Why am I saying back a lot? Anyway, not a
Back to the battlefield.
back, not a bad hand from Beastie started off. Oh, more so now that we've got things like Lumber and Hassan to work with. Over to this side here, Salah Rider start. So both of these guys starting fairly strong here with their turn ones. Not a bad sight to see here. Uh, and Tweakin, I mean, how do you feel like this match is going to go so far? I know we looked at the decks earlier here, but just looking at what's on the board now, who you giving the advantage to?
Uh, just based on the color combinations, I want to give it to Helios. Not seeing a lot of global buffs in Beastly's deck, and we know that Beastly likes to rush early, get that initial damage in, and kind of dictate uh, the pace of the game. And right now, with Helios being able to have all these low cost units out on the board, being able to stop that initial push, I think it's going to be hard for Beastly to, mount any sort of offense.
More so that we lost that Trent to the Rider last will here. We're gonna see one of the guards come, or one of the two guards to come out to clean up at least a bit more of what Helios had on the board here. We'll throw it back to Helios. But yeah, I definitely give Helios more of the favorable outcome in this matchup. At least some cleanup here, not too bad. Rush the Dragon Knight up. Yep, all good stuff so far. Ooh,
Now
that
Rat
Rat
King's
King.
gonna be good. Rat King's gonna be good. We're gonna hopefully, yeah, we're gonna coin into Hostility Guard just to get a little bit more damage in. Hopefully that blacksmith stays alive so we can get off a Rat King next turn and pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, or not even. I don't think we'll need the Rat King at this point. Now we can maybe even get like a Dragon's Knight down, uh, to kill off that faithful Drake.
But setting up the Rat King is
So
important, or at least having the Rat
yeah,
King is important. Excuse me. Setting up for it and having it very important.
so we're not we're not in the worst spot right now with Beastly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Beastly would like to have better cards in his hand right now. Does have a wizard and a mana core, which is nice. Does You love to see that? You love to see
Ooh,
Helios skipping his turn 5.
the turn 5 pass. Interesting. That's kind of concerning, though. Just what's in his hand then if he has to pass turn 5? More late game tools, more responsive, reactive tools? That's the question of the day.
Yeah, and a lot of people assume that if some players skip their turn, that means they have no plays. But sometimes players skip their turn to draw in.
Oh,
And as I was saying, to draw in their opponent to dump their hand, knowing that they have a Dragon's Fire or something to answer it, and to get max value out of it.
mm-hmm.
And we saw that right there. We got rid of all the rats, the blacksmith, which was a good play. Which was a good play. Now he has to deal with a wizard and a manticore here. He's going to get a Darkbender out.
Which is
Uh,
actually going to be enough. The Spinies can't deal with them on their own. We'll probably see Manticore rush in for 2. So it will die anyway, regardless, just based on what hits what. Okay, or not. That's fine. Also saving it just in case Helios is going to rush up with this Darkbender. And yeah,
Beastly is really hoping he doesn't have another Dragon's Fire.
here's where the deck starts to falter for Beastly. By now, it's sort of well known that if you kind of beat out this early rush, you basically win the game. And Helios looking to really just make a big exclamation point of that statement. Yep, we'll see the
Right.
Dragon Knight trade here, or the Dragon Knight kill, excuse me, not even a trade.
He will be able to take out this Darkbender if he wants to, but he will have to, unfortunately. Oh, not anymore. He can take out pretty much everything except for the Dragon Knight up top while keeping the wizard alive. He would have to play the armory and then both spinies to take out, or not both spinies, but he can take out
He would
the
have to,
Darkbender with the spiny and a Ramrus. He would have to pretty much dump 3 of his cards in.
yeah, he would have to get lucky even to make sure that it hits the right target. Spiny not even a guaranteed hit. We're gonna play the Ramrus early though. We're gonna go ahead and create a 4/5 wizard of our own here. That will of course get rid of the Drake. And we'll position the Ramrus, I guess, right in front of the castle here. We are saving the 2 Spinies, which is, again, it seems like the right play to do, especially since we can dump those Spinies to remove the Darkbender at any time if we want to. But not
Hmm.
looking good for BC regardless here. He's only working on those 2 cards, whereas Helios has got a whole, nearly full grip to work with.
A whole treasure trove of cards.
Oh, and speaking of
And
treasure
now,
trove.
and this is when it gets a little hard for Beastly, especially now when
Oh,
he pairs it
boy.
with a Lightning Blade. Uh, I think this is already a game set match here. It's going to be really hard to take out all these rats, even with them being just 1/1 with the colors that Beastly has. I don't think he has any sort of like swordsman or rally of the town. He could get another Rat King here. That will be great. Maybe he can get to uh,
Bear Hogs.
Bear Hogs. That could do wonders for him. That could help him out a lot with cleaning up a lot of these rats.
I think he has to take the more defensive approach here, as much as he hates to do it. I mean, Helios did expend, half of his hand just to make that play, and he left Beastly a lot of room for recovery. We see Beast Masters
Bear
being
Hogs.
popped in the back, right? It needs to be Bear Hogs. And 2 Wolves. Are not Bear
Oh
Hogs.
God.
Not Bear Hogs. And unfortunately, we leave this Rat King alive to pop another Mystic Journey if Helios has got it in grip. That might be it here.
And we are setting ourselves up for a very dangerous lightning blade.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or Temple.
Temple lightning blade. or any sort of direct damage onto that Beastmaster. Um, yeah, I think if I'm Beastly right now, I'm hitting the panic button right now.
Yeah, no, I would certainly agree with you there. L Blade, okay, yep, that hitting the board here. Hitting the
Oh,
Rat King, alright. Yep, there goes all of that. Oh my god.
oh God. Oh, at this point, you just gotta laugh. You just gotta laugh at that
Yeah.
point if you're Beastly. Having all three lightning blades like that, I mean, what are the odds? You just gotta laugh. You just gotta chuckle, shake it off. You're into the next game.
The absolute mad lad. Bring 3 lightning blade, and Beastly's entirely not happy. Oh boy. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at how game number 1 went down, bring you to the post-match right now. Alright folks, and welcome back after game number 1 here. Helios taking the victory as me and you kind of projected earlier on, Tweakin. Not much to really say about this one. I think this was pretty clear, cut, and dry just by definition of the matchup here. BC
Hmm.
didn't really see a lot of his globals in the game that allowed Helios to kind of gain up a presence here. He hit what he needed to hit. I think just things worked well for him.
Yeah, we saw that, if you're able to stop Beastly's initial rush, then it's going to be very difficult for Beastly to, make a comeback towards the later game just with, having the lack of draw. So once he, uses up a lot of his units and a lot of his cards to make that initial push. If you're able to survive and overcome that, Beastly basically is only top decking at for the rest of the match until it hits the sudden death. So yeah, Helios did very well stopping Beastly's initial push. Now, what we didn't see in this match, unfortunately, was the global buffs. So would it have been a different game if Beastly would have been able to have those global buffs? Possibly.
Right.
Uh, but we will never know. We'll never know.
Exactly. We're not too sure because we can't just sit here and hypothesize, theorize what would have happened when we have what did happen. So,
Right.
overall, I mean, a great match for Helios here. He needs to pick himself back up for sure. I think this season has been rough on him. His debut season, he's been thrown to the wolves really with some of his matchups here, but I think now he's starting to find his footing. He's starting to get more comfortable, and I think some of the nerves are shaking off. So I definitely think he's going to do better as a player. Let's see if we can follow that through, though, as we move into game number 2. Helios with the set point. Let's see how this goes. All right, folks, in game number
Dora, Dora.
2 underway here. Of course, set point going to Helios as basically bringing out the classic no interaction list.
He
I
said
mean,
enough. He said enough with the games. I'm going with just the most cancerous of decks.
unfortunately, this isn't really a secret to those who are interacting with us on Discord often. You know that BC likes to run this and has plans to run this much more in the future. But as of now, here we're going to see it in game number 2. BC already just right on the trigger, man. He just... he just can't even use the fear. He'll have a second imp, though, which is great here. That'll go into his hand, hitting the board here. He's going to set up for a fear a second time. And goes for the Dragon Knight play here. Alright, that's fine here. Beastly gonna probably pull the trigger off on the fear. I don't know about that, Beastly. Okay, he
maybe
goes for it.
maybe even coin into Headless Horseman or Darkbender, or we'll probably either get a wizard or
Wizard or
yeah,
Books,
wizard out.
yeah. Wizard's gonna be the play to go for here. That seems fine.
Keep that coin in maybe for an early Caraxes if we need be.
Mm-hmm. And there's the Vampire for turn. It looks like being held back. Oh, yeah, definitely being held back, especially with that Drain Life going into the hand now. Drain Life would have been able to wipe that Vampire off the board here and give so much advantage to Beastly here. Horseman hitting the board instead will hit the Vampire, which is not what Helios wants to see, but I mean, hey, at least it's not his castle, which I think BC is more upset about.
Does Beastly run heals in this deck? In his no interaction deck?
Arbiter. Arbiter is
Arbiter?
the... Well, Arbiter is more of the game ender, not really a healer. If he needs to heal it,
Right.
he'll obviously use it, but Arbiter is sort of the de facto heal instead of the hands. Okay, we'll see a Drain Life pop on the Vampire, creating that 5/6 Wizard. That's big. It's going to hit the Faithful Drake. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
I have high hopes for Beastly in this game.
I do
I have high
too.
hopes. I
Yeah.
like the color combination. I like the no interaction against blue red. if he can get just a couple of burns in his hand, I think he'll have no problem winning this game out.
Ooh,
That's going to be a little tough now. We're going to see
that's a sneaky play from Helios, but it works. Oh, and maybe not so much with Drain Life here. I think we're gonna have to go into
coin into a Craxus, take out the Dragonette up top, maybe get a
probably.
burn.
Yeah, I mean we can't use anything now. He's got no gold to work with, so we do unfortunately have to keep this 4-6 alive to potentially
Right.
pop something else. But we'll get some draw
Oh,
here.
okay.
We'll pull in a second Cracks, which is great to see. But all right. Well, okay. Drake's attacking now, so that's
Oh. Uh-oh. We need a fear.
that's not a fear. We have
Uh,
divine knowledge. We could pop two of them, but that would mean a very big risk on doing anything else for the turn.
yeah. Maybe just pop one to see if we can't get a burn or a fear to deal with this Mordock.
I went for the drain life. He's gonna boost up Cracks to take out this back Drake.
Lumberjack, Flamestorm.
That's
He could risk it. He could risk it
yeah.
with the Salahar Flamestorm, or he could just, just do it with the books and be a little bit more safe. Hopefully, no Wraith.
Oh, there's
Oh,
the.
oh my God.
We
Oh my
can put
God.
we can put a lumber or Salahar out, which is what we are doing. So that way we can at least take out the Wraith and maybe force Helios to rethink just charging straight in here.
I'm having Lightning Blade flashbacks already. I'm having Lightning Blade flashbacks, and it's
I mean,
scaring me.
even if we play two, right, it doesn't take out the Craxus. There's that benefit. Okay, we do pull it back, so that tells us that we can't really interact with the Craxus all too well. And passing on turn 9, that's scary.
Maybe he has a Yenaroth or a Raka in his hand? Because he knows that, I mean, the likelihood of that Wraith dying this turn is pretty low since Craxus isn't going to be able to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any. He didn't know that Beastly didn't have any burn, but so maybe we might see a big play here. Maybe a Raka, maybe a Yenaroth, or
Maybe a
maybe
Dark
a
Bender.
Dark Bender, maybe a Dark Vader, maybe even nothing and just a Dark Bender.
Okay, Blue
Blue Fire
Firebolt.
Boltar.
That's good because now we're gonna turn Beastly away from the Flamestorms. He would have to lose his own Darkbender if he wants to make that interaction. Going for a Lumberjack hit, evening out the castle damage. That seems fine. We probably should get this Cracks a little more involved, which it looks like we will, following up with another Darkbender. Yep, pushing the weaker one because we don't really have any fear. We are going to end up losing anyway, so we're going to push it in a better position. And now we're going to see probably a bit of Castle Burn here. We did see the Incinerate on Castle, another Lumberjack coming out. And, I mean, geez, look at Beastie's hand. 2 Flamestorms, 2
Yeah.
Chaotic. So much out-of-hand burn. Oh, D-Fire. That's going to be a good cleanup here for the Craxus. Although we do put
All right.
Beastie on pretty much the game here.
Yeah. He needs to be able. Okay. Yeah. This is game.
No, yeah, it's no matter which way you look at it, it is game here. We can even Arbiter heal now if we want to. Okay, we're just okay. Alrighty. Yep. Or we just have lethal. Yep. Math.
Oh my God.
Math, folks. That's how math works. Absolutely insane.
When in doubt, dump your hand in no interaction.
Ay, ay, ay. So, with that being said, folks, game number 2, signed, sealed, delivered. Beastly makes a win appear out of thin air, and we move to game number 3. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at how game number 2 went down in the post-match. Alright, folks, coming off of game number 2, and Beastly coming back with no interaction to clean up the game. Very quickly, very aggressively, and Tweakin, are you honestly surprised by the choice? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not necessarily surprised by Beastly's choice here in game 2.
Yeah, I figured we were going to see some sort of burn and heal combination. No interaction is just too good of a deck to go up against someone who doesn't run any sort of heal, because any sort of damage is going to be that much more impactful. So it wasn't really a surprise to me that Beastly decided to bring out no interaction as his hard counter for this deck.
And he certainly has just gone to no interaction as sort of his backup. I think now he wants to run this as his main deck, which you might see. We're coming up on a midpoint in the season or or some kind of change here. We don't know what to call it yet, but regardless, players will be swapping out their main deck, so we'll probably see BC run no interaction as his new main here. I know he definitely wants to get off mono druids, but regardless, I just think the deck worked well. There was nothing Helios could really do here. There was a point where we had like the Lightning Blade Faithful Drake at the back of the castle that did some good damage, but we saw big cracks just wipe that instantly from the board, and then it just started to go downhill. Helios' deck does not do well in a war of resources against something like no interaction with how much draw and how much heal he has. I mean, we saw, what, double Arbiter in the hand at towards the end of the game there? We knew it was going to be over. We just knew
Right.
it.
Right. And when you do run no interaction with like, you don't really have that many units and a lot of it is just, direct damage, Temple of the Five Gods kind of becomes useless. It kind of turns into nothing more than, an armory or a blacksmith. Because you don't really have that many units on deck at the time. You're basically just kind of throwing your units at the face, trying to get some sort of castle damage. You don't really care if they die or live. So the only real units that are trying to survive are Darkbender, Wizard, and Kraxus, and other than that, all the other units are exposable. So Temple of the Five Gods kind of becomes useless, and to add on to that, same with Mystic Rats.
Yeah.
Although it's very good, I mean, you're hoping when you play Mystic Rats that a lot of the opponent's deck is clumped together towards the back, so you can get a lot of extra castle damage paired with the Temple of the Five Gods. But when you come up against no interaction, uh,
That's not the
you're just not
case.
going to see
That
it.
is just
Yeah.
not the case. Regardless, though, we do have one more game. Of course, Beastly does bring it into a game 3. Will Helios come out on top here, claim his first set win, or will Beastly steal that away from him? Only one way to find out, folks. Let's go ahead and jump right into match number 3. Alright, folks, in game number 3, of course, winner taking the set here. Not a bad grip for Beastly to start off his hand. It looks like he's got some globals, he's got some early boys. He's having a good time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Helios returned to his first initial deck, seeing how dominant he was in that first matchup. Now, we see Beastly added some cards, some ninja cards. I wonder if that's a little bounce action to help with his Beastmasters and companions here.
I would assume so. Okay, and good fear on the Trent here. We do know that Rammer's sitting in the hand, so we could have seen a 4-3 on face already by turn 2 if we weren't careful. He'll play the Rammer's anyway just to get it out on the board here to kind of push some bigger bodies onto Helios, knowing that he perhaps can't really deal with this unless we're seeing a Rammer's of our own, which I doubt.
Now we do see a lot of buffs in
Yeah,
Beastly hand that we didn't see last game.
that's what really
That could
makes the
be
deck.
really helpful.
That is what really makes this deck operate here at such a competitive level. As much as we meme on this deck, and as much as Beastly says it sucks, which it kind of does, um, the globals really make this deck work. They really bring it together, and it's disgusting how well you just push a lot of smaller stuff, smaller units in with something like global buffs and just see results, see some positive wins, but. We'll see if he can get that done here as we move further and further into this game.
Wizard of Faithful here.
I say Wizard just to get it out, just to kind of create
Get a
that,
range unit out.
yeah, the big range threat, which is obviously going to scare the living crap out of Helios.
Then set up for potentially an armory next turn with the placement of the fat bar being in that perfect spot to drop an armory.
Oh, there's
Rally of the
armory.
town.
Oh boy, you know what that means.
With these big beefy units that Beastly likes to put out, he's gonna get some value.
I mean, that's if he kind of allows him to get that value here. We could see,
And he
oh,
is.
he's offering up a peasant to force the other two in. I wouldn't play the, oh no. Now, I mean, I assume he's probably at this point going to hold if he's playing things like Armory here. I wouldn't be aggressive.
I mean, yes, but at what point do you push if you're Beastly? The more you wait, the more time
Yeah.
you give Helios to buff up and give even more reanimate value. I mean, at some point, Beastly is going to have to run, having no way of clearing any of his boards with a Dragon's Fire. So, I mean, unfortunately, you will going to have to give Helios some reanimate value.
Yeah, what you are going to see
Um,
here, of course, the dual units here producing the Horseman and the Wraith. Not bad, but unfortunately the Horseman not really landing where we want to. I think if we were Helios, our number one hit would have definitely been the Bard with that Horseman. But we just didn't see it. We'll see a Beast Smasher though for turn. There's the Bear Hog, which we needed game one. We'll see how BC decides to take the rest of this though. It's kind of interesting because, I mean, we've got Beastmaster, right? We have the room for bouncing if we have it in our deck. I'm not sure if we do. Okay, Wizard going into the Wraith. He's kind of just giving up the Wizard at that point.
yeah, I don't know if I like that play, especially if Helios has a way to.
Clear
Yeah,
everything. Just clear
yeah.
everything. Oh, my lord. One Dragon's Fire. It's all it takes, folks. One Dragon's Fire.
And now we're at the point where we were at last game, where I want to say Helios is in control with just having that ability to clear out the majority of Beastly's units whenever he wants with Dragon's Fire and Burn. And Beastly now is just pretty much top decking with having only 3 blacksmiths in hands.
I mean, the blacksmith can do a little bit, but ultimately you don't want to lose something like a blacksmith. Okay, both Drakes dying out here. We're gonna play the vampire for turn. Oh, if we had one more gold, we could have done triple blacksmith to kill off that vampire without any problem. Oh, we're gonna play the Rameth instead for turn. Yeah, because we can top deck that. Yep. Okay. There it is. There's the play.
We, I just don't see Beastly coming out from this
No,
game.
I
Now
don't
we're
either.
definitely top. Now we're in top deck scenario.
Right.
Um, it's just. I mean, I don't think we expected Beastly to come out with the victory in this third game.
No, no, that's usually how it works. Basically, can just bring no interaction to the second, bring it to the third, but ultimately still face the same issues as in game one, just because the decks he's facing are so much better equipped to take on decks like this, where it just feels like a collection of cards with a singular purpose. It doesn't really do anything spectacular.
If I'm Beastly, I would have just ran the blacksmith down and hit castle with face, making it 14. So maybe I could somehow squeak out a victory with, if I top deck 2 companions and somehow Helios leaves his castle undefended. I don't. I mean, without an armory here, okay. Oh my God. I was gonna say without an armory here, he's pretty much susceptible for a Dragon's Fire, which will pretty much end the game.
Nope, we
Uh,
see it though. We see it.
but we see an armory, so we're on life support right now.
But to be
But we're
honest,
still breathing.
I don't know how we're doing it for Helios either. I mean, we're down to 3 cards ourselves here. It's not like we have all the options in the world here, which kind of was baffling as to why he pushed the Darkbender and created that formation. I mean, I guess
Hmm.
we didn't expect the Armory to be the top deck for turn, but still, we're risking it, and it didn't really seem necessary to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Helios predicted those last 3 cards to be all blacksmith and
Mm-hmm.
then another armor on top of it. Um,
Ooh, Dragon
but
Knight
that
bringing it in.
Yenneroth is going to be, but that Yenneroth is going to help Helios a lot, being able to stall for 1 extra turn, maybe 2 if he has a Mystic Journey.
And good they didn't push it all the way up, or else it would have fallen to the Dragon Knight here. Because, of course, those guys are big and chunky, 6'3" and 6'5". That would have easily wiped the Yenneroth here as a clean trade, card for card.
Now we did count out Beasley a couple turns ago, but he's not in a bad spot right now. Like
No.
we're only 1 turn away from being able to start double drawing from sudden death. Uh, but we're going to see a lightning blade here. It's going to do some damage on the castle. Going to take out at least 1 blacksmith.
Not the second
Um,
one, though, which is important. Oh.
oh,
Oh.
he will just have enough. You need to take out the Yenneroth. You
You
need to
need
take
to.
it out. It's unfortunate, but you can't allow Helios to have that unit on face. If on the odd chance that he has a fear or a burn, you need to sack the Beastmaster just to survive a little bit longer.
I wouldn't be worried about it either too much, considering that you have all these big bodies providing additional reinforcement here. Okay, Rally, that's gonna unfortunately do a bit here on this top line here. Not enough for reanimate, which is important, but still, it did a little bit of work here. Offering the peasant due to the blacksmith. It seems questionable, but I guess we're not. Beasley's just gonna go for it. He sees the trade
Yeah,
and
we're
he
gonna.
has tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Now he's actually might be very close to pushing for game. He's got lethal on the board here if Helios can't remove or stall another turn.
Blue firebolt. All right. I'll take out the. Oh.
Lowers, it puts us out of the lethal, I think, for like a turn. Yeah. Ugh. Oh, and the mana core for turn is gonna help us survive just a little bit longer here. I think he's gonna sneak away with this.
Put the mana core down. You trade the dark bender with the wizard, and then you hit face with the blacksmith and the dragon knight,
Yeah.
and then just put the lumberjack on because you can. Well, I mean, well, yeah, no, Beastly.
No.
Beastly. We missed out on 7 damage.
Yeah. It's getting down to the wire here. Something like Mystic Rat can just come in and do some incredible work. Actually, we don't have room for a Mystic Rat really to make any sort of huge impact. Do we? No, no, we don't.
You can clear out the board though, which is just as effective.
I guess, yeah, for sure, with the right cards. Which I don't even know if we have. Okay, we're gonna see Mystic Journey again. Oh, do we have a Lightning Blade?
Oh my god.
We have the gold. Do we have the blade? Come on. He's got 3 damage. He's
No,
got he's halfway to
I
lethal.
think Beastly just came out of nowhere and somehow. Oh,
Oh my god.
oh, oh my god, he did it. Beastly did it.
He snuck
Beastly
away
did
with a
it.
win with this deck. I can't believe it. Even the guard, it's not enough. You have 8 damage worth of units right here on the board. The lumberjack. The centaur got
Oh,
it.
there's the centaur.
The
Oh my
centaur's.
god. Oh my god.
He walks away with it. Jesus, Beastly.
His
Oh
first
my
set
god.
in dramatic fashion. Oh, I feel so
Yeah.
bad countering him out, but he did it. Those global buffs
Yeah.
came out.
He did it.
Oh.
I mean, listen, you gotta hand it to him. He did what he needed to do, and the deck performed the way it really should have been performing for a lot of the matches. Establish the global buffs, push the units down, and really, when they're big like that, it's hard to deal with. It's absolutely incredibly difficult to deal with. So, yeah, great job, Beastly. But with that being said, I guess we should move into post match and see just exactly how game number 3 went the way it did. Alright, folks, and as we return to match, or from match number 3, Beastly does sneak away with the victory. We gotta give it to him, Tweakin. It was quite the comeback for him, for Beastly to come back and actually win that matchup where we thought, I think Helios had a, pretty much stamp on the game. But, I mean, hey, all these players surprise us from time to time now, don't they?
Right, and what we saw differently in this game was the global buffs. Beastly was able to get those global buffs down, and it really did have, an impact that wasn't there in the first game. So you can see how, Beastly's deck kind of relies on those global buffs, kind of like Ooge's deck, where without those global buffs, it's gonna be kind of hard for Beastly to, come back and win. Now, Helios did have a chance to mount a comeback with the Yenaroth play. He was trying to stall out, maybe to get a Raka off, maybe to get some sort of lightning blade, but unfortunately, Beastly was able to draw into a Beastmaster that was just enough to
Mm-hmm.
kill off that Yenaroth and basically win him the game.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, he already had the power on board. It was just a matter of getting it closer to the castle in time, which he had plenty of, just based on what was left on his castle. Um, yeah. There was that very close point though at the end. I mean, we saw that Helios was able to reduce the power of the units that BC had, and if the Centaur wasn't the top deck, it might have been a little close. But he was just so close to taking his first set, man. It's just heartbreaking. It really is.
Right.
Oh my god. I mean, the Gremlins need more motivation, more things to
No,
fuel his
they
ego.
don't.
But
No, they don't.
ay. Regardless, folks, overall a great set by these guys. Let's go ahead and get to them and see how they're feeling after all of these games.
So we are back after a intense game 3. Beastly came out with the victory, and before I go anymore, Red had to step out, so we brought Jump in to replace Red just for the interviews. But Beastly, how did you feel coming back and winning the set after losing in dramatic fashion in the first game? What kind of changes did you make with your deck? I noticed that you added some cards from the Ninja faction.
To be fair, the only card I had was the Shadow Dance. That's the only thing I run
Mhm.
in my Ninja variant. That's different, so that I can like Shadow Dance the Beastmaster over and over again, or the Rat Kings. But I didn't draw any of that, so it was
Right.
basically just the same mono deck again.
Now, what we saw different in this game than in the first game was the amount of global buffs that you had.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
It was. I think at one point you had 3 blacksmiths and an armory down in your hand. You know, we saw that had a tremendous impact into the game. Did you think that if you weren't able to get that same amount of global buffs, did you think that you were going to be able to come out and win, or do you think
Well,
you needed those global buffs?
I think I needed the global buffs in this scenario purely because, in the end, the global buffs were the things allowing me to deal a lot of damage to the castle because I was quite
Mhm.
behind. If I didn't have them, I don't know if I would have scraped through. And you have a good problem on your hands when you have to start throwing, blacksmiths at at their castle.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. It was
Was
a.
there
Oh,
was
continue.
there a point in the match where you thought that there was no way that you're gonna win, or were you pretty
The
confident?
Yenneroth.
The
The
Yenneroth.
Yenneroth. If I didn't draw that Beastmaster, that would have been it for me because there was
Hmm.
really no way to clear it unless I drew a Beastmaster, or a Rat King, or a Sun City Guard, or a Dragon Knight. But the chances of that were decently slim, so I
Right,
was
and
very concerned.
before I pass it off to Jump, there's just one play that I want to talk about. Towards the end, when you had the Manticore and the Lumberjack, and Helios had his Darkbender in front of his castle. You decided to play the Dragon Knight above instead of playing the Manticore down, trading the Manticore with the Darkbender uh, by attacking it with the Wizard, and then that way being able to hit on face for 7 with the Dragon Knight and the Blacksmith. Uh, why did you decide not to do that? Was it because of the Temple of the Five Gods was down?
I didn't want to have to deal with chain shenanigans. So it was mainly the temple that influenced that decision. And
Hmm.
also, I didn't want to have my units grouped at the castle, and then, my wizard kind of hanging out in that middle square. Like, realistically,
Right.
it probably would have been the move, but he had more cards than me in hand. I didn't know if he had, like, units that he was holding back or something like
Hmm.
this, or a Rat King Mystic that he was just going to pop on me, so I preferred to just space everything out and, just see how the cards ended up playing out.
Awesome. Well, those are all the questions that I have. Jump. Do you have any questions for Beasley?
No, it worked out in the end. So, um, it's congratulations for winning the game. But I'm gonna
Oh,
go over to Helios now, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I want Helios walk me through game one or game two, your choice.
Game one was very nice. I mean, it went according to plan, and I had my Mystic Red journey, which was the best part.
Yeah, that
And he didn't draw any globals.
that play with well, we saw all three. What do you call them?
Blue Firebolt,
blue,
Dragon's Fire,
dra-
Blue
uh,
Firebolt.
no, the Chain Lightning.
Oh, Lightning Blade.
Lightning Blade, of course. Yeah,
Yeah, I drew 3.
yeah, and it was a surprise to us all, but what a dominant victory. And uh, then game 2 came around, and it went
Yeah,
a
I
little
was
bit
surprised
differently.
by that.
Yeah, Beastly came back with his no interactions deck, and
Yeah.
when you saw the colors he was running, did you immediately know what deck it was going to be?
Yeah.
And
He
so,
doesn't play last will.
yeah, and so what was your plan from the beginning of the game? How are you going to try and take that game? Did
Prevent
you
face
mulligan differently or
damage.
anything?
Yeah, to protect the castle was the main priority.
Right, just try and save the health as much as you can, because
Yeah, because the burns in the end would, you know,
can take you down from 10 health in one turn, as we saw.
12 health.
12, yeah. Yeah, more than 10 even. Well, it was a great set, really fun to watch. I'm sure if you've made it from this far in the video, you must be really happy and enjoyed those 3 games. So I think
Yeah, only the
that's
first one.
Now,
They were
Helios,
good games.
I have one question for you in that
Yeah.
third matchup.
Yeah.
On turn 5, you didn't play anything. You essentially skipped your turn on turn 5. Now, I suggested to Red that you were potentially baiting Beastly into dumping his hand so that you could play a Dragon's Fire or some sort of burn.
Yeah. I had the spell card that summons 3 peasants,
Mm-hmm.
and they are easy bait for any AoE, so I didn't want that to happen.
Okay, so
And I
so
had
you did
reanimate.
have plays. Yeah, so you did have
Yeah,
plays in
and
your
I
hand,
had
but
reanimate.
but you were thinking that if I skip this turn, maybe I can bait Beastly into thinking that I have, higher cost units, and to kind of give him a false sense of security for him to kind of dump his hand and rush,
Yeah,
making it
but
susceptible to a Dragon's Fire.
it's not exactly that, because I had a lot of cards in my hand, so he would have
Mm-hmm.
figured it out that I'm just holding back for maybe his spells.
Right. Well, it worked out. You got great value out of the Dragon's Fire, killing basically all the rats of the Rat King, and also taking the blacksmith
Yeah.
down. And then my last question for you, in that last matchup, at what point in time did you think there was no way that you're going to come back, or at what point in time did you think that I have this game in the bag?
The point when his units were above 4 health, because then Dragon's Fire will not get them, and no global buffs would also be gone
Right.
with that. So at that point.
yeah. Well,
And
well,
I
those-
also bricked into 3 Mystic Journeys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very very unfortunate.
you really don't want too many of those, but yeah, I like the mind games a lot.
And I was
Playing,
looking for a Rat King in the end. That could have maybe saved me.
Right.
Because I had 2 Mystics, and the temple was down.
yeah, passing on turn 5 and then baiting out the Dragon's Fire value on turn 6. It's the mind games that really elevates the players we've got in some of these matches to the next level, and
Yeah.
it's really a cool thing that we see really only at the top of the ladder. So
let that be a lesson to the newer players.
yeah,
That just because you have units to play,
Just 'cause you
doesn't mean
have
that
it.
you need to play them.
sometimes just holding back another turn, being patient, it really pays off in the end. But congratulations again to Beastly taking the set, and we'll send it back to RedMaster to close out the video.